Hello, my name's Elijah Wells, and yesterday the Razzies came out as the winners, so let's get on with it. Whenever a film is so bad, you have to ask yourself, was this done on purpose? This was the question that everyone asked themselves after Madam Web. And of course, Madam Web has won for Worst Picture, winning over Borderlands, Joker Folie à Deux, Megalopolis, and Reagan. I think the moment the film just came out, there was like a flood of conspiracy theories, whether this was intentionally bad or they were setting the film up for failure or something, but it was so bad that it ended up with the top or bottom prize of the Razzies, as in, it was that bad. And for Worst Actor, it goes to Jerry Seinfeld for Unfrosted. From a comedic actor who peaked in the 90s with his own TV show Seinfeld, and from the 2000s and 2010s became a meme lord thanks to the B-movie. Now he's just the weird actor who now picks fights with pro-Palestinian protesters. And now he's got a Razzie for a film he just did. It matters, because he's more famous for how many fights he can pick with pro-Palestinian activists. Winning over Jack Black for Dear Santa, Zachary Levi for Howard and the Purple Crayon, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker Folie à Deux, and Dennis Quaid for Reagan. Of course, there is Joaquin Phoenix that's bound to make a comeback next year with Eddington being directed by Ari Aster. There's Dennis Quaid, who had a really good supporting role in Substance. There's Zachary Levi, who's pretty much now admitting that his career is somewhat over due to his support of Donald Trump. And Jack Black, who seems to pour gasoline over his career, with hopefully, if the Minecraft movie flops even harder than Dear Santa did. So, Worst Actor goes to Jerry Seinfeld for Unfrosted. Worst Actress, it goes to Dakota Johnson for Madam Web. It seems like the 50 Shades curse is not broken for her yet. Even though Jamie Dornan did escape it with his brilliant performance in Belfast, but I feel like Dakota Johnson is nowhere out of the woods at this point. She won against Cate Blanchett for Borderlands, Lady Gaga for Joker Folie à Deux, Bryce Dallas Howard for Argyle, and Jennifer Lopez for Atlas. Again, her performance ended up being so poorly received that she ended up disowning the film as soon as it came out, saying she doesn't want to do something like that again. There's non-commitment, and there's walking away from it or putting it behind you, and then there's whatever Dakota Johnson did and just said, okay, yes, let's admit the film was absolutely awful. And we have for Worst Supporting Actor, it goes to Jon Voight for Megalopolis, Reagan, Shadowland, and Stranglers. Okay, I think jokes about your erect penis in Megalopolis may be crossing the line at this one, unfortunately. It won over Jack Black again for Borderlands, Kevin Hart for Borderlands again, Shia LaBeouf in drag in Megalopolis, and Tara Rahim for Madam Web. Again, I really wanted to, if I remember correctly from the video I made earlier about the nominations, I really wanted Shia LaBeouf to have won this one just because he just came off as so creepy and unlikable in this film. Most likely unintentionally, and just came off like a child. For Jon Voight, I think, even though he does give out a pretty decent performance in the movie, but it was also that he's also been in 3 other films that year, like Reagan, Shadowland, and Strangers. Which, again, wasn't exactly a good look for him. Particularly the most memorable scene involving him was him, like I just said, joking about his erect penis in front of Shia LaBeouf and Amy Plaza. So, not exactly the best look for him. And for Supporting Actress, it goes to Amy Schumer for Unfrosted, the comedian who was funny one time with Trainwreck and tries to ride that train, that comedic train, until a point that I think everyone has to confront her at this point that she's not really that funny. She won over Aria DeBose for Argyle and Craven the Hunter, Leslie Ann Down for Reagan, there's Emma Roberts for Madam Web, and FKA Twigs for The Crow. Again, I have made jokes like Ariana DeBose is trying to get, making a case that her Oscar should be revoked, or Margaret Thatcher didn't die for Leslie Ann Down's performances, or FKA Twigs and Emma Roberts are just not there. I mean, The Crow was apparently so bad that I don't think anyone actually watched it, or anyone I know watched it. But again, I think Amy Schumer, it's kind of like Amy Schumer in Unfrosted from the brief clip that they've shown, being that it's basically just her being herself, as in funny just 1 second, and just takes great offense that when someone tells her that she's not funny. So well-deserved win for Amy Schumer for Worst Supporting Actress for Unfrosted. And for Worst Director, it goes to Francis Ford Coppola for Megalopolis. Again, even though a lot of the blame has been pinned on him, not just for the inappropriate behaviour on set, but also due to the massive fact that he's been given complete and total creative freedom on this movie. So much so, he pretty much self-financed this movie himself, the whole $120 million of this movie. I've explained it on the review before, and I've also did touch on this movie, or talk about this movie to a great extent, about what counts as an independent production. But again, it feels a tiny bit sad that he's getting quite a bit of blame for this film, even though he has directed some of the greatest films ever made, with Apocalypse Now and the Godfather trilogy, and the conversation with the recently passed away Gene Hackman. Again, which is a little bit sad, but this is kind of the world we live in. We have S.K. Clarkson for Madam Web, which I feel like should have been a deserved winner. Just for the sole purpose that I feel like she didn't actually direct this movie, or just let the studio just do its thing. Todd Phillips is, I think there was that one Letterboxd review that says that there was that really dumb kid who just copied someone else's test and got 99%, so they rearranged his 18 and copied someone else's test, and he ended up at 0%. Like, this entire movie just straight admits that, okay, Joker was basically, I copied Martin Scorsese's King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. And this one, I tried to go limp, and it clearly didn't go well. We have Borderlands, directed by Eli Roth, who you may know for playing Bear Jew from Inglourious Bastards, and as well as directing the first two Hostel films. And this time he's doing a video game movie, and this time it's kind of like his film that came previously, Thanksgiving, as in it pretty much got burnt in the oven. And there's Jerry Seinfeld for Unfrosted, which again goes to show that I think this is kind of like a really soggy cereal that's been left in the kitchen for far too long. So the winner for Worst Director was Francis Ford Coppola for Megalopolis. And for the Worst Screen Combo or Worst Screen Couple, it goes to Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga for Joker, Folie à Deux. Like, again, these two are going to have a massive comeback, not just with Lady Gaga's new album, Mayhem, with Abracadabra and Disease, and also Joaquin Phoenix's teaming up again with Beau is Afraid director Ari Aster for Eddington, I think it's called, which apparently I might be hearing some very good things about this movie, but they might bounce back from this. But however, the other nominees did include like any two obnoxious characters, especially Jack Black for Borderlands, since apparently they had no chemistry, even with Jamie Lee Curtis, Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, and Jack Black, who's really having a really awful year this year. So awful that even Sunny had to make a video about how awful his year was. And we have any two unfunny so-called comedic actors for Unfrosted. And there's the entire cast of Megalopolis. And of course there's Dennis Quaid and Ann Miller for Reagan. Again, it went to Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga for Joker Folie à Deux. And for Worst Prequel, Remake, Rip-Off or Sequel, it goes to Joker Folie à Deux. Like, that sequel just let me down just way too much. Like, I don't think just looking back at it was just any of it was just salvageable. Just I feel like it's just a case of what happens when you give a director one too much creative freedom and just let him do whatever he wants without any checks, and he just came back with this. So much so, I think it was a World of Real article or a Discussing Film article that said that David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, and of course the person who hasn't seen a part of Warner Brothers Discovery, hasn't torched up yet, basically literally having a massive tantrum saying the film did far lower than he expected, and was openly concerned about a lot of his upcoming movies having enormous budgets, like the upcoming P.T. Anderson movie with an $150 million budget behind it, which is a little bit concerning, but I might watch it. It did win over The Crow, which I don't think anyone saw, Kraven the Hunter, which I think I know one person saw it, but I don't think anyone else really cared for it. Mufasa, Lion King. Again, I feel like this is a case of if Wicked was full and Moana was full too, there's Mufasa there. Rebel Moon 2, which just this sole idea of it just made no sense to me. Like, why make it original cut? Why make it director's cut right after the original film and said, oh, we're releasing this movie, then afterwards we're gonna make a director's cut? Like I remember Zack Snyder fighting bitterly to get that Justice League final cut he eventually got. And it's also something like Martin Scorsese, who made that 3.5 hour long gangster movie with a $200 million budget. Like, why just release the longer version of this rather than just the short version and release the long version? Like, that release strategy just made no sense to me. And for worst screenplay, it goes to Madam Web, a movie that's so bad it's basically The Room, but if it's a superhero movie and has an $80 million budget behind it. So much so, I think John Mulaney did say in the last Oscars, like, for best sound, you can hear much brilliant quotes like, we're going to need a bigger boat, like, I'll have what she's having. And he says a quote from this movie, like he was with my mother in the Amazon studying spiders right before she passed away. Like, it was like so poorly received. Even the Oscars were mocking the movie. Maybe they did it like 5 years ago with the really bizarre movie Cats, but you know you really screwed up when even the highest awards is mocking you. You got one over Joker Folie Do, and one over Kraven the Hunter, Megalopolis, and Reagan. And we go to our last and certainly not least award. We have the Redeemer Award for any actor or actress who's done absolutely horrible stuff in the past, like, I mean, just horrible movies, but came back this year, I mean 2024, with absolute gold. This one, it goes to Pamela Anderson for Last Showgirl. Okay. I was adamantly certain that Demi Moore was going to be the winner for her performance in The Substance, which is again a brilliant movie, and considering her stuff which she released in the mid to late 90s with Striptease and G.I. Jane, again I think come to look of it, it did make sense to give it over to Pamela Anderson. Like, it wasn't going to be the most obvious winner. They want to give it to the least obvious winner, being Pamela Anderson for Last Showgirl, and add the fact that Dennis Quaid, who has a supporting role in Substance, was also featured prominently in this awards for his role in Reagan. So it did make some sense, come to think of it, but again, this is the world we live in. For Redeemer Award, it goes to Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. So, what do you think of the Razzie winners this year? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to my video, like this video, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd and Blue Sky and Threads. This is Elijah Wells, and bye.